In this lesson, we're going to go through and I'm going to show you all the steps that I did to install this backyard project. And of course, you've got to gather up your parts and tools first. And the first thing I did was dig up the area for the source and install a new outlet there, a new connection for us to start our drip zone off. And what I'm doing here is just redoing the connection and putting us a drip valve in. You can tell by the pit that's below my hands there that that's where the drain valve is going to go. And now I'm going to go ahead and connect everything while the glue is drying and roll out the drip line. Sometimes you may want to stop and check your work and all that as the glue is drying, but sometimes you've just got a limited amount of time, and we're going ahead with this project. Of course, I'm not going to turn the water onto the zone until the glue has properly set up. So here I am just rolling out the hose, and I'm going to stake it down. And of course, we're going to just, stake it down so that it doesn't pop up, and then we'll cover it up with some mulch to keep it out of sight. I'm going to continue to roll this drip line around the gazebo here, and I'm going to put it on the outside of these plants and staple it down. Of course, we're going to go back in with some more plants on the corners, some cast iron. And I'm going to lay out the little loop for our holly tree here and get it set up, and then I'm going to come back. But what I'm doing is connecting a couple of these loops here with some black solid drip tubing. It doesn't have emitters built into it like the brown tubing does. I just used a solid tubing to connect the places. And sometimes when you have wide open spaces like this, you don't want to use all drip line. Sometimes you're just irrigating bare ground that's only going to produce weeds. So I like to just put the water exactly where it's needed in a situation like this. You'll notice every time that I pick up a fitting or the end of the pipe here, since it's laying in the dirt, I always like to just blow off the debris and a little bit of dust that's on those fittings so that it seats fully into the fitting here. Usually if you're using these male 17 millimeter fittings, it's not that big of a deal, but the easy fit fittings, you want those as clean as possible when you're putting them together. And here I'm just going to replumb the existing drippers in these pots and supply it from the left-hand side instead of the right. And luckily enough, I have a little channel here inside the siding to tuck the tubing down into, that 1/4-inch tubing, and just keep it out of sight. Otherwise I would have tacked it down in the corner, but I would rather it not be visible at all. And so down the left side of the deck, we're going to make the connection where I brought the drip line around the left side of the deck there. And just reconnecting the drippers here. When I cut everything off from the right side, I just left the drippers set up inside the pot so I wouldn't have to reconstruct those. Now I'm just connecting them back together with the new supply point. And those are the 1/4 inch coaxial staples that I'm using to tack the drip line down. It's the perfect size for this 1/4 inch flexible tubing. It's normally used to tack up, television coaxial cable. It's the size made for that, but it works great for our purposes, and I always keep a couple of bags of these around on the truck. And I'm fitting an elbow into the 1/4 inch here just to make sure that it takes that corner well. Sometimes if you don't put an elbow into the vinyl tubing here, it'll crimp as it goes over. And now I'm going to start setting up the drip lines for the hanging basket. Of course, as the drip line comes by the gazebo here on the back side, I'm just going to connect up some 1/4 inch tubing to it. But I'm also going to put a shutoff valve, a little 1/4 inch shutoff valve here on the back side of the situation, so that during the winter, when we don't have hanging baskets up, then we can just shut the water off there and it's not dripping down onto the deck and messing up the wood. And now you can't see this very well because of the shading inside of the gazebo, but I'm just tacking this up and measuring everything out and putting a dripper right in the dead center of each of the openings of the gazebo sides.